Hello, and welcome to another episode of Assassin's Creed Syndicate. In this episode, we're going to be going through the Charles Dickens missions. I've already done and recorded footage for all the missions, but I wasn't really satisfied with how it turned out. There we go, easy fix. Oh, fuck it. Wasn't very satisfied with how the recordings turned out. I made a lot of mistakes, had to stop and start recording quite a bit. But I will still be able to show the cutscenes even if they don't show in the replays, because I have those recorded and I'll just splice them in. But outside of that, there isn't really much else to worry about, and of course I would be underground. Of course it would. So we'll go to our progression log, progress tracker, associates, activities, London stories is what we want. And I see I have all the Dickens memories except for these two locked ones. So we'll start with Memory 1, Spring Hill Jack. Find and stop Spring Hill Jack. These aren't very hard missions. A lot of them are recommended for low level, like level 4 players.
The aura of death surrounds thee both. Get thee behind me!
Alas, these days, stupidity is all too prevalent. You know, I never asked your names when we last met.
I'm Evie Fry, and this is my brother Jacob.
Tell me, do you believe in ghosts?
Not particularly.
Yes.
I'm skeptical myself. Here we are, in the world's most advanced city. Yet its citizens are so enthralled to the supernatural, they leave themselves vulnerable to charlatans. Which is why I joined the Ghost Club. The first society in the world to look systematically at the phenomenon. Because truth, like a spirit, must be cajoled before it will reveal itself. Will you join us?
Sounds absolutely ridiculous. Why not?
It does sound intriguing.
Splendid. I have your first case. There's been some disturbing reports about a series of assaults in Lambeth. People claim they're being attacked by an age-old demon, Spring-Heel Jack. The fiend is no doubt on the prowl as we speak. It's up to you to find him.
Alright, so it looks like the cutscenes do play in the replays. I just want to say that it's been very difficult to model Dickens' facial hair. I don't think it turned out very good, in my opinion. But Spring Hill Jack, he is actually an urban legend from the time period. You'll see his attributes right about now when we meet this potential victim.
Do you think
It was
something
horrible.
is going on?
Glowing eyes, huge claws, and his laugh. Luckily, he was frightened away by some passers-by. Somebody has to do something before he attacks another.
So there we go. Claws. Evil laugh. Glowing eyes. The usual. Oh, there you are. I actually found you sooner than I usually do. Uses a smoke bomb against me and disappears. It's like the shoes on the other foot as far as that cheap trick is concerned.
Looks like he ran this way.
I really do have to use eagle vision for these trailing parts because his footprints are difficult to see.
Perhaps the legend is true and he does have giant claws.
Much to this part. Alright, this guy always appears here, and I have no goddamn clue why. I mean, he isn't difficult. He's actually blind as a bat. I just walked right up to him. He's not an associate of Spring Hill Jack. The actual enemies we have to find
Looks
are
like he ran
still
this way.
a little ways away over there, I think. Nope, still further than there. So that guy really is just randomly placed on the roof. Last point to inspect.
A heavily guarded warehouse. I wonder what they're heavily guarding.
Alright, the optional objective is to kill a cultist with dynamite, and the easiest way to do that is come here, make sure you have your pistol, there's some dynamite there, boom. You can run over here, and the way down is right there, and if she would jump down, there we go. Those guys don't follow as far as I know. See, our pathfinding doesn't let them come down here. We need to kill these cultists, and for whatever reason they are not concerned with us. Just let them finish off each other. Police are involved. There we go. As soon as you kill the last one, Jack will appear. And usually on barrels. Usually a pushover at this level. And there we go. Now, sometimes when you are beating him up, he will use a smoke bomb that will stun you while he's in his sort of like drooping down, unable to really attack phase. But that will eventually pass and you will be able to kill him. And that's a memory. Going to get sent back to London proper, and we will begin the next memory. I find it interesting that Jacob is the one skeptical of ghosts and Evie is a believer. I mean, granted, Jacob puts no stock in the pieces of Eden or the, incredible history of the first civilization or anything like that, sure. But wouldn't Evie know that all the ghost and seemingly supernatural stuff is just advanced ancient technology and not actually supernatural? Very little shit. You look at
Hand it over, if you please.
you look at two useless assholes walking down there not doing their job. Alright, once again. Hell's Bells. The Ghost Club investigates a series of supernatural robberies involving a demon with a silver bell. And this one's fun wait. Hold on. Yeah. I want to make sure that we're doing them in the right order. This one's fun because we get to see Evie do a funny dance. Isn't that great? For like the 4 people who have her as her as her waifu, get to see her doing a funny dance. Won't that just give meaning to their lives? I guess she's sort of doing one right now. And we don't even need to do a mission to do this one. Or this particular mission.
There's been a spate of rather intriguing thefts about town recently.
Robberies in London are hardly supernatural events.
They look like common robberies at first, but these perpetrators have all claimed to have been under the influence of some supernatural power. I'm not so foolish as to forget that criminals will spin any yarn to avoid the law. However, these thieves all proffer the same defense. They say they were being controlled by a demon. Will you make some inquiries? One of our demon-possessed mobsmen is being held behind bars at this very moment. You may want to begin your search there.
Do I know what was up with the camera during Dickens' little explanation? No, I do not. But we got to head over to Scotland Yard and inquire to one of the police about it. And if you didn't get the chest in the building during that one mission, this is a good time to get it. I've already gotten it.
Helga wants the child to have a German.
Wrong floor.
It's really as simple as that.
Is there just no way over? I mean, come on now. There we go. Alright, tell us what for, Aberline Facial here.
What's that man done?
Rob the pawnbrokers down the road.
A demon made me do it. I can't remember much. That's what's so queer. I've never stolen anything in my life before.
Let's pretend that I believe you. Tell me who made you do it.
All I can recall is a silver watch, swinging in mid-air. It was held by someone or something. A dark presence whispering. I could only see its eyes. A demon.
I'll need to verify this with the shopkeeper.
Alright, now that we talked to him. The only thing he really remembers that's concrete is a watch. Dogs are barking outside. Alright. Situation with the dogs handled.
Faster! Come on! Yeah! Faster!
Last time I did this mission, it was bright and sunny and no rain. But since I'm going right after the Charles Dickens' Spring Hill Jack mission, I guess the weather remains like this. Now, this a-hole doesn't talk to you from behind the counter. You have to go around it, which sucks, as you will see.
What can you tell me about the robbery?
There's not much to say. Most of the items did come from the same seller. Enzio Capelli, Sorcerer Supreme, a famous showman from Italy. Several weeks ago, he was forced to pawn his family heirlooms, debts. I have the address of the last person who redeemed something of his. A lovely pearl necklace. That helpful?
Not again! Stop her! Stop! Somebody stop that thief!
Yep, you have to make your way out from the counter in order to chase this bitch down.
Where am I? What's happening?
You took something from a pawn shop.
It's all very hazy, but I remember something silver flashing in front of my eyes. Then I heard a sort of bell. Next thing I know, I'm here with you.
Likely
My
story.
only lead is this mysterious buyer.
You can't actually hurt her. Oh, she didn't push her over. Not the most intricate mystery out there. It's go from person to person to person, and you will find the answer at the end of the line. Ah, now it's sunny. Okay, the last buyer. Alright, you're gonna slow down here.
This chap might lead me to the demon.
Because you're going to tail him. And for whatever reason, he took off running, but you don't want to get spotted. So just hang back. Let him pass through that door. You can go in here. Those blighters aren't going to be any trouble for you. This guy doesn't spot you easily. Like, as long as you're not running right at him, you should be okay. But still a good idea to hang back just in case. You know how things can be with this game. If you've been watching so far, the most ridiculous things can happen.
Madam, one more misstep and the missus will put me out.
He's gonna bump his way through that crowd. It's best just to hang out behind these lovebirds here. We decide to be very rude and stand on the bench. Honestly, sir, honestly, stop defying the laws of physics. I think we have another spook for Dickens to investigate. It's like these crowds haven't seen some random hooded woman crouching around and sneaking like she's onto something before. Alright, he's gonna get into that carriage right there. But before he does, he's gonna take another look behind him, I think. Yep, one quick look. Though that's probably just crappy pathfinding. And run. He can't see you while in the carriage. So just hang out on here until you get the achievement or optional objective, and then jump off. can chase after him on foot, but you don't want to be on the carriage when he goes out. And the carriage is so slow, you should have no problem running behind it. Like, I can run past it if I want to. He's gonna get off around that entrance right there. So we're gonna stop right here and let him get out. So he gets out pretty abruptly too. There's a perp.
Yes, I want to give you the necklace now.
No killing him either.
Mr. Enzio Capelli, I presume? So you're responsible for the theft of your own jewels?
You are very much mistaken, aren't you, my child?
Yes, I'm very much mistaken. Hold on.
You are very much mistaken. And now you are so very, very tired, aren't you?
Yes, I'm very, very tired.
Now, you're going to do a little job of work for me, aren't you?
My goodness, what foul behavior.
What's going on? Where am I?
You've been arrested for theft. How very intriguing.
I can't remember a jot of it.
Let's get you out of here. I've pulled a few strings, and they won't prosecute on account of your losing your mind. Be free, little chicken.
And there we go. Hell's Bells completed. Our little chicken has found herself in a bit of a conundrum with that Enzio Capelli. But thankfully, due to, I don't know, claims of hysteria, she is free. So we will be able to pursue him in another mission. And also you might see that Dickens has started to walk around. There are times where it seems like he will walk to the next area where you're supposed to find him for a mission. But I followed him around a bit and he doesn't seem to go from mission to mission. At least we got to see Evie do a silly dance. That's fun. So now it's time to play Recollection. Time for our little chicken to figure out what's going on. Yes, that's going to be a lovely nickname for her for the rest of the playthrough. Little chicken.
No recollection of the events that landed you in a cell?
My mind is blank, save for the glint of a silver object, the toll of a bell, and a presence of some sort.
A glint of silver and a tolling bell. I must say, you look very tired.
Yes. I'm so very, very tired.
Now you're going to do a little job of work for me, aren't you?
Now I'm going to do a little job of work for you.
You've cost me a bit of money, mate. So I think it's only fair that you replenish my coffers with donations from the good people of London. You will steal money for me, won't you?
Yes. I will steal money for you.
I don't know, mate. If I had someone like Evie under mind control, I wouldn't just have her running around stealing money. Especially when you get £5 for money. Look here. From there, I got £22 from a regular thug in the street. But the great Enzio Scapelli, yes, hypnotist. Careful of the police officer. Just walk behind. B. Sorry. Sorry, I say as I'm stealing from her. Hold B. And there we go. £5. I made far, far more than that right there. Police are fucking awful at their job. I think they walk around as like a deterrent, and they're supposed to catch you stealing. You know, we've seen how well that works out. Come on, Evie.
Boy, get away from me, you dodger!
And Enzio isn't going to be in the same place as before. He's going to be over here. Oh, look at that. I made even more money. Like, almost more money right there than I did stealing from these wankers. Alright, Enzio. Still no killing him.
Good. Very good. Now, we can't have criminals like you roaming the streets. You will surrender to the police, won't you?
Yes, I will surrender to the police.
Oh, and when you do, you're going to do a silly little dance for them.
I say, you gave me a terrible fright. Muttering about a man named Ezio.
I was hypnotized by Enzio Capelli, not a demon after all. Nor Italian, for that matter.
I suspected hypnotism from the very start. You must find the villain.
Why didn't you say something then, Dickens? Oh, and that's a third reference to Ezio in the game. First being the posters you can find in the theater, the second being Evie's Requiescat and Pace comment. I mean, it could very well be the first reference to Ezio you find in the game, depending on what order you do things. I mean, all three of them could actually be your first. Now that I think about it, if you clear out burrows and then do the 8th sequence as soon as possible, or you know, just take a dip in the leaves there, Evie. Or if you do the Dickens missions, or of course if you just play through. No, wait, the sequence 8 one can't be the first one because you have to do the Maxwell Roth.
You're going to stand watch while I ransack this house, aren't you?
Yes. I'm going to stand watch while you ransack this house.
You're going to obey the bell, aren't you?
Yes, I'm going to obey the bell.
Alright.
We are looking for money.
You are very much mistaken, aren't you, my child?
Yes, I'm very much mistaken.
So he was hypnotizing some blighters, and I killed a few but got caught by him, and as a result he hypnotizes me and sends me outside. Thankfully the blighters you kill don't respawn.
We mustn't allow anyone to get near Mr. Capelli.
What are you doing? Stay back road, I guess. Well, we'll let them do that. Oh, great, now Mr. Scapelli's coming down. Are you just gonna have a fucking party right there? I mean, honestly. Dude, don't fall off. It's amazing the way this game can get broke. You don't want to kill Scapelli or knock him out when you're kidnapping him. And if those blighters would just leave, it'd be a lot easier. And we can take care of this guy. Problem is, there's two of them walking around. Let's try to get someone down here. I think if you're caught a second time, Scapelli just books it. Screw it, I'll just... There we
Me
go.
at once. I admit it. I'm not Italian. It was just for my act. Nobody wanted to see a British hypnotist.
I don't care.
I'll give you anything you want.
I would like you to be quiet. Are you a contemporary of Dr. Elliotson?
Never heard of the man.
Mesmerism as a criminal enterprise was not a bright idea.
How dare you? I'm a hypnotist.
I mean, you know, it wasn't that bad if he only told Evie to forget about what happened rather than anything else. Would have solved a... Nope, don't knock him out. That fails the mission. We need to deliver him to the police awake
This is really quite painful.
and alert. So that took a while. We eventually got it done. much better when it comes to having the carriage rammed around than Richard Owen was. Station, get away, people. Justice is being done. Alright, big boy, let's go.
Not again!
I'm not entirely sure if the ring will aggro these guys, but I'm not gonna take a risk.
You will make reparations for your crimes and liberate the innocents you've used.
No idea why it was an eagle vision there, but in any case, our little chicken has solved her case. Doesn't say if I, did the optional stuff or not. Although I don't think there really was any. It was just like, don't knock out or kill the hypnotist. "50 Berkeley Square. 50 Berkeley Square is the most haunted house of London. Mr. Dickens wants to see it right away." And as you can see, there's no optional objective, and we get the Charles Dickens cane sword. Sure, let's replay. So far, we've had one mission involving presumably a guy dressed up as a urban legend in the Victorian times, and 2 missions where Evie is hypnotized.
How nice to see you again, Mr. Dickens. Is it time for another of the Ghost Club stories?
As a matter of fact, yes. Follow me. Number 50, Berkeley Square. 4 stories high and branded, "Beware all those who enter." There have been many strange tales of this dreadful domicile. The earliest report of a haunting was said to be the spectre of a small girl who was murdered by a servant. She could be seen at the attic windows, weeping and wringing her little hands in an agony of despair. Another legend claims the attic is haunted by the spirit of a young woman who purportedly threw herself from the top floor windows to escape her abusive uncle. Her screaming ghost has reportedly been sighted hanging from the window ledge. This residence was briefly owned by a Mr. James Jasper, a choir master and an opium addict. His nephew Edward was betrothed to one of Mr. Jasper's pupils, the fair and delicate Rose. However, Edward disappeared under mysterious circumstances, followed by Jasper himself. Perhaps grief sent him back to the soothing arms of his narcotic mistress.
Hey Dickens, I have a question. That first thing we did where we went to that gang stronghold, you send all your ghost hunting buddies to heavily fortified houses filled with cultist gang members, or am I just special?
Easy, easy.
Shall we? Though this house is vacant, some say it comes alive at night with screams of terror, ringing bells, and slamming shutters.
Alright, so we have to find the clues. First one is a piano.
Although eerie, this phenomenon is easily produced by pneumatic tubes and valves. There are claims that a young man was caged in the attic, his only connection to the rest of the world a tiny hole in the door. A young man who was reduced to madness by this extreme isolation. The legends all seem to focus on one room in particular.
Alright, go up, and the second clue is right there. There's nothing underneath this painting. And yet there's this thing right here. I wonder if that'll come into play later.
A sudden draft, nothing more. My word, perhaps I should wait here while you investigate the source of that laughter, which is not at all unsettling.
Of course, like it doesn't let me get a head start. Why were you checking the piano, Evie? You saw a kid running down the stairs. I like to go for this one. This is a little boy I like to chase out in the rainy, dark night. Come here now. Come here, Tiny Tim.
Let me go, you moke!
Charming. Now tell me, why were you at that house?
What's it to you?
Out with it.
Right away! We were there for the treasure. We found a key to the secret passage.
What secret passage?
Yeah, number 50's got a secret passage. Here, take it. Just leave it be.
Yeah, got yourself into a right Oliver twist there, you little shit. Calling me a moke. Who do you think you are? Well, there you go. If you're ever in a bar fight and you need something to call the other person, but asshole's taken, call him a moke. Fucking moke. Hey, Dickens.
I found a lock, but I haven't located the key.
It's here.
Oh wow, this certainly appeared out of nowhere. Alright, don't want to pull these two levers.
So this is how it works.
Impressive. Have that, Charles.
Good Lord.
Dickens, it's handled. Mr. Dickens, please. He's dead. Here, Dickens, I'll show you. I will show you. You know, I didn't have great expectations about this ghost hunting adventure, and they're even lower now with how cowardly you are. Hey, literary jokes, am I right? See, there he is, Dickens, the perp himself.
Alas, the myth has been discredited. There was no ghost in Berkeley Square, just a wretched soul, driven to murder and madness. I think this is the makings of a rather fine novel. I wonder if I got one left in me.
Alright, and 50 Berkeley Square completed. I know I sort of fucked around a bit at the end. The guy would have just gone on a rant about, like, his dead family. He's a bit of a loony. If only there was an insane asylum for him to go to. Unfortunately, Jacob is so reckless. But that was at least a little bit different than last two. Dead letters, a mystery waits in the graveyard of carriages. Let's go. It's kind of unfortunate that I'm redoing this since it means I have to go through these white room little loading segments each time.
Everything all right?
There's always too much work to do.
Today's Ghost Club investigation involves a carriage. It's said to be covered with gold leaf, dazzling passers-by when the sun shines. Naturally, it's rumored to be haunted. Now let's see if we can find it.
I guess I'm going to do the investigating now. I'm going to find all the clues, and don't press B near that cloth or bed, whatever.
The Royal Mail coaches vanished when the post began to be transported by rail. These letters never reached their destinations. How sad.
Unfortunately, it looks like you can only do the investigation with 2 clues. There we go. Don't pass off on the opportunity to signal some kids. Yeah, the only thing really left to look at is that bed there, even though it says only 2 or 4 clues found. So, might as well take a nap.
Oh, I'd rather enjoy a sit down, but duty calls.
And there's only 1 clue to be found here.
That's curious.
Love letter. My darling Fry, how I long to be in your arms again. Ever since our last meeting, I have been racked with loneliness. Your absence drives me to despair. I implore you, return to me at once. I long to see you and hear your voice. Do not delay. I await your arrival and offer myself to you completely. Your very own Elizabeth. Isn't that sweet? Walk down as soon as you can because that carriage moves fast. And you have to get on in less than 2 minutes. Not only does it move fast when chasing it, but you can't even begin to wait around when you're on foot. It'll disappear way too far to ruin the mission pretty soon.
You're safe. You don't have to worry anymore.
Oh, you saved me! That wretch would have forced me to marry him within the hour. I must return home.
Alright, there's gonna be a chase and a bit of a fight up here with carriages. Involved just for fun. They're gone. Now these assholes are here.
Oh, his accomplices will surely murder you. Quickly, we have not a moment to lose.
Of course.
Can't really dodge away from these guys. At least most of the time, I seem to be doing pretty well here. The last time they were able to catch up to me and had to smash their carriages to bits.
We've lost them. Thank you, you have been a great help. Will you please take me home? I owe you my thanks. You have gone to a great deal of trouble for someone you don't even know. What is your name?
Evie Fry.
Want a bit of a fight, that'll make it interesting, but alas, I'm way too good for this game. You know, the infinite skill of this let's play. Nice copy and pasted houses there. Oh, interesting little fact, the 50 Berkeley Square house, the one directly across the street from it, also has a copy and pasted interior. Same interior as the Berkeley house.
You have preserved my honor and saved my life. I am Elizabeth. Won't you climb down and sit beside me so that I might see your face?
We can see each other just fine right here. See? You gotta look at me. Fine.
Where is she?
A cry for help. My dearest Mama and Papa, by the time you read this, I shall likely be dead. I cannot marry the Marquis. I have no idea how to pronounce that name. Damn you people who insist on QUs in your name. For I love another. I must escape this brutal tyrant, but I know that if I do so, he will hunt me down. I am so afraid. I love you. Goodbye, your daughter Elizabeth. Isn't that just a tragedy? And the game froze. Evie, please. There we
You
go.
look as though you're just about to collapse. What on earth has happened?
Just a dream. Or so I think.
And there we go. Dead letters completed. Hijack the carriage in less than 2 minutes. That's almost all of the Dickens ones. There's, I think, one more left. Alright, so now we've gone from mysterious villain terrorizing London to a hypnotist scam artist mesmerizing people and getting them to steal for him. Some creepy, delusional, crazy alcoholic guy who turned his house into some haunted theme park manor and scaring people, to Evie having a bad dream. We're really, you know, building up the tension here. Yep, dead letters, the terror of London. Spring Hill Jack strikes again. In case you haven't driven a carriage before, there's a basic vehicle controls. I think we're quite apt at that. I think we know what we're doing. Hey, Dickens.
Thank goodness you're here. Impossible as it may sound, Spring-Heeled Jack has returned. We need to do something before the unthinkable happens.
He did say that we'd not seen the last of the spring-heeled villain.
There may be more to this than we originally thought.
Shooting them does nothing. And of course he uses his smoke bombs. What a wanker. What are you doing, Evie? I think I found another glitch. She's just very itchy there, alright? There we go. Nothing like running into a tree to make the universe work again. Alright. We're on the roof, cannot touch the ground again. He'll just wait around like an asshole. He takes you pretty far. Dodge that bullet. I think he does try to keep shooting you. And you can't tackle him, even though it says so. I was right behind him. And the B prompt did not appear. This is a completely scripted chase. Spring Heel Jack will run to a certain location, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. I think he's gonna run to the roof of the glass roof of a train station. Nope. It's not quite as thrilling the second time when you know this guy's tricks. Alright, he's running around on the ground, but remember, we gotta stay on the roofs. He can, hang out down there all he wants, have a fucking party. We're not gonna fall for his shenanigans.
Long have I stood streets of
Alright, the tracks don't count as a ground, but you wanna run, because that train is not your friend. Play it safe here and just use the grappling hook. Yeah, it's nice of him to use a pedestrian crosswalk rather than jaywalking like an asshole. You see, he may terrorize random people, but he understands jaywalking is fucking rude and stupid. Alright, Batman, whatever you say. Here comes Harley Quinn. There we go. Now, very soon he'll be wanting to fight. Can't shoot him here. Alright, now we get the ability to tackle, or, well, we should. And just kick his ass from here to Kingdom Come.
Impossible!
Nobody remembers you. And Evie, what are you saying impossible for? You did that like 7 times during this chase alone. But you can't truly kill him.
Well, thanks to you, the Ghost Club's reputation has grown tremendously. We are a beacon of reason in a world beguiled by superstition.
But I believe we have encountered one genuine spirit.
Can you be certain? That's the question. One might surmise that the spirits that haunt us are simply our deepest fears, manifested as apparitions.
Shame. I've always wanted to see a ghost. Or a goblin.
I propose a toast to the Ghost Club and the virtuous twins that have aided it, Miss Evie and Mr. Jacob. Cheers!
Alright, we do get the ending cutscene despite doing replays of missions. And the Terror of London completed. didn't touch the ground. We get his belt, but I think that's something you have to craft and needs a rare resource. Because of course it does. And that's all the Charles Dickens missions. So, what do I think of them? Well, I don't really know enough about Dickens and his life to say whether or not him leading some ghost hunting club is in any way an accurate, a topical, I guess you can say, way to have him in a historic video game. Like something he'd reasonably be expected to do. Like having Karl Marx, you know, build up an illustrious business would not be a very fitting thing for him in a video game, since that's not something he did in real life. So, is that also the case with Dickens and his ghost hunting? I don't know. It's an alright set of missions. I like the Spring Hill Jack ones, and I think the Enzio Capelli ones are kind of fun. It's just very odd that he's in these side missions and not in the main game, especially since he was the first friendly historical figure introduced in the game. He was introduced by literally running into him, and then Henry Green made it a point to say that you should keep in mind a relationship with Charles Dickens because he knows everyone in the city. But Jacob and Evie, in a matter of months, has completely toppled the Templar stronghold on London completely without Dickens' help. Like, Dickens didn't do diddly dick for assistance throughout the mission, so it seems like just a very odd case where the beginning or setup of the game just doesn't match what will eventually be in the game. I think they could have incorporated him into the main plot. They could have even incorporated him as like hunting spooks, and it turns out that the pieces of Eden are those very spook-causing things. I mean, Evie here seems to believe in ghosts, and Jacob does not. Evie also puts stock in the pieces of Eden, while Jacob does not. Although Evie should know that the pieces of Eden are just advanced technology, and spooky supernatural stuff are likely just a product of advanced precursor technology, but I suppose that's beside the point, now isn't it? Like, maybe Dickens could have been the one to tip them off about the shroud, saying he's heard some ghostly accounts about it. Or it's one of the things he mentions about, you know, supernatural things in London. I don't know. I just think he could have been a little bit more in the game, especially since Evie doesn't really have a historical character to hang out with for most of the game. Like, Jacob's been having adventures with Miss Disraeli, he's been having adventures with Charles Darwin, and at most, at the very late game, Evie helps out like this disgraced prince from India, the Rasahav. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it. I think Dickens and Evie could have gotten along pretty well, especially since Evie seems like the kind of character who'd enjoy reading literature. I suppose there are quite a few missed opportunities in this game. Anyways, that concludes the episode, I think. There's not really much else to say other than I think I do know that spiritualism and all this supernatural craze did sort of take off in the 19th century. Contemporary religion sort of died down in the rise of this whole new age. woo stuff sort of took off. I mean, you have to realize that, you know, ghosts and all that stuff that not we believe in, but some people believe in today and back then, was not exactly smiled upon during most of the history of the West. And this was sort of like the time when it was starting to become a little bit more acceptable to dabble in that stuff. Of course, yeah, it still remains as a fairly common belief even to this day. People still believe in ghosts. They still believe in haunted houses. We still have these shows where a bunch of people use these equipment, and now the game froze, to detect static and, you know, goes off randomly. And they explore these haunted houses, talking about people who died there, you know, like ghost hunters. Take a picture and see dust particles and like, oh, there's orbs here. It's so beautiful. It's all quite silly, especially when you understand how the brain works and that apparitions of a person aren't going to continue walking around after someone dies. I guess it doesn't really matter in Assassin's Creed. They can have ghosts all they fucking want. It's a fictional universe. With, you know, its own fictional lore, its own fictional, even laws of physics at times. For real life, it's all very, very silly. I do like the little shout out to Elliotson in the Enzio Capelli missions. Although Evie didn't assassinate Elliotson, it was Jacob, and Jacob would much more likely know about Elliotson's work in mesmerism than Evie would, unless Jacob just told her. Like, remember, Jacob knew that Elliotson worked in mesmerism because Darwin told him. I think if the game had a very different plot than what it does now, like we're not liberating burrows from gangs and... I don't know why I did that. Now they're so confused. We weren't liberating burrows from gangs, I think, and the game took place for more than a fucking year. I think Spring Hill Jack might have been a villain. Hell, he could have even been like the main villain, someone who actually dabbled with precursor technology and got a bunch of these seemingly supernatural abilities. I know Jack the Ripper is part of the DLC and the main antagonist in the DLC, but he was a real person and not an urban legend. I think Spring Hill Jack might have had like a similar backstory to Jack the Ripper if he were a main character in the game. Actually, I'm going to buy just buy as much as I can. And I'll read the description sometime later. Not gonna really upgrade them. I already have like the best capes. Of course, I can't buy everything because some of it needs crafting. Make sure to switch to the good one. Upgrade. Upgrade. Alright, those are all upgrading. Outfits. Yeah, we have all the outfits, or most of them. And we'll switch over to Jacob. Oh, we do get the Spring Hill Jack belt. There it is. This belt of choice for demonic urban legends. Does that include you? It probably does. The assassins must at least be talked about in London. We still cannot upgrade our voltaic bombs because of that, and we need to get the schematic for the hallucinogenic dart upgrade. Got all the skills for Jacob. Got most of the gang upgrades. I think next episode I'll talk to Ned just so we can unlock this. Again, we're just gonna be going down and crafting as much as we can until we run out of money and or resources. Likely money first because we are just swimming in resources. I'm not sure if there's an achievement for having all the weapons and items and whatnot unlocked. And we are out of money. Don't really have much left though. And one last thing we might as well do is visit the train station. Yeah, I think next episode we'll visit Ned and see if there's anything that, that person can get us. Specifically unlocking the last few gang upgrades. And, may hopefully also schematics, like I could really use that poison dart pouch upgrade. Spend the crafting on outfits. Damn, these rare resources. And now we've got... Now we're broke.
I've been looking for you.
We'll get to that, Agnes. Not today. So yeah, that concludes the episode. We did all of Charles Dickens' missions. Gave my thoughts about him. Equipping together. Dickens missions, gave my thoughts on that and his role in the game, and also bought some items and upgrades, and as much as we can, considering the very crappy limit on what we can do. It's those damn rare resources. I hate them. It's just such an artificial barrier, you know? It's like I've got the money, I've got the level needed. Like, I see no reason to faff around with like looking for golden chests. Actually, I think that's something I should check. Is there a merchant nearby? Because you should be able to buy a map showing where all the golden chests are. I think we'll do that here, just so I can show you what you need. And of course, there's no damn merchant nearby. Like, of course there isn't. Of the game. Wow, I'm in like the most unlucky area, aren't I? Little question: who do you want to see in Assassin's Creed Syndicate as a historical figure, and what would you want their missions to be centered around? Take note, they have to be alive in 1868 and working or living in London, or at least just visiting there that year. Darwin didn't live in London. They did visit in February 1868. And this is actually Alexander Graham Bell's last year in London, if I recall correctly, and Dickens dies next year as well. Alright, here's a merchant. Treasure maps. Alright, beer tasting guide shows us where all the beer are. Chests shows us where all the chests are. And we get some specifically for each borough. We also have the London tour guide for historical illustrations, and the Book of Flowers for that. And he should also sell you where the music boxes are, but I guess since I've already done that, he doesn't have it in his inventory. And of course you can get in-game currency with real money, but you know, why would you? I've already shown you how to farm money with children. So we'll just, you know, get some for Whitechapel, get some for Lambeth, and that's as much as we can afford. Now when we look on the map, here's Whitechapel, here's all the chests. Don't see any of the golden ones though. And here they are for Lambeth. Which again, no golden ones, so it might be a scam. Well, alright, I'm gonna end the episode here. I've gone on way too damn long. What the hell is wrong with you, soldier? Put that back on. Dickens! I've got one! Alright, that concludes the episode. I hope I gave you something to think about and otherwise entertained you. Take care.